I'm joined with Ryan Snow from I-80 Gold. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So one of the questions I like asking people here, we're at Beaver Creek, one of the biggest, if not the biggest investor conference for precious metals investors, is the sentiment this year. I'm not sure if you come here every year, but just how much the sentiment has changed towards gold equities and the conversations you're having with people here at the conference. What can you tell us?
I mean, I've been here quite a few times.
Yeah.
I would say that this conference is very well attended this year, which is a sign of the times. We gave a presentation yesterday. It was standing room only. There are many people here very excited about where gold is and where it's going. We've seen an incredible increase in the gold price over the last year. I think the sentiment around the room here is that there's no sign of that slowing down. Talking about gold prices in the $4,000 to $5,000 range per ounce in the next 12 months, and people seem to think that's realistic. So
Yeah.
I hope they're right.
Look, none of us have a crystal ball, but this is it just seems like gold's not stopping here. And I imagine for companies like I-80, this is just an incredibly welcoming event because everything you guys have worked towards is just so much more economic.
100%. We're seeing a lot more generalist interest in the space because of where the gold price is, the tailwind in the price and what it's doing. So that's going to be very beneficial for us.
So it's the first time you and I have chatted. We had Richard on back in July in Boca Raton at the Rules Symposium. There's going to be people who are unfamiliar with the story. They're going through our Creek playlist, and they are going to be curious about the story. So can you just give us a quick little overview of the company?
Absolutely. I mean, we're a growth story. We've got 5 assets, 3 underground gold mines and 2 open pits that we're going to do a 3-phase development plan on. The first phase has our Granite Creek mine and our Archimedes underground mine coming into production, along with refurbishing the Lone Tree autoclave to process the material from those 2 mines. The second phase of our production has Cove underground coming online, which would be the 3rd underground mine, and the open pit at Granite Creek, which takes us to about 400,000 ounces a year of annual production. That first phase gets us to about 200,000 ounces a year of annual production. And then the final phase of our 3-phase plan has Mineral Point, which is our flagship asset, coming online. That asset will take annual production to about 600,000 ounces a year. That asset's very robust, 5.5 million ounces of gold, 200 million ounces of silver in resource. Definitely the flagship asset.
So since I last spoke with Richard, you guys have released your Q2 earnings, highlighted by revenue of $28 million with some losses. I see about 5 cents per share. What can you tell us about the Q2 earnings?
Yeah, Q2 was strong for us. It was a really good quarter. I think that we are not yet in the stage of our development pipeline where we're going to be producing earnings on our revenue. We're very much investing in the future of the company at the moment. So our story right now is really about getting the assets into development and the capital it takes to do that, and going forward from there.
And also, more recently, you guys received construction permits for Archimedes. What can you tell us here? What kind of development timeline are we looking at?
Yeah, we're very excited about this news. We put out a press release last week to say we got the last of the permits that were required for us to go underground at Archimedes. We've begun the development there. We put out that press release that said that we took our first round to advance. It's about a 14-month development pipeline to get to the first ore at Archimedes. So that's where we currently are. So, this time next year, late next year, we should be touching first ore there.
Long term, what's the vision here? Like if you get all the assets online that you intend to, say 5-7 years from now, how many ounces would you hope to be producing?
Yeah, I mean, we'll be a mid-tier gold producer in Nevada, about 600,000 ounces a year in that 7-year time frame once that 3rd phase is complete with Mineral Point coming on. So, very robust.
Okay. Last question for you. If I am watching the story here, doing my checklist or my watch list, but I want a checklist to understand what I should be watching out for from I-80 over the next year, what should I be looking out for?
Look, 2026 is a catalyst-rich year for us, for sure. That Archimedes underground development was one of the first catalysts, and that happened last week. Outside of that, it's beginning the infill drill program at Archimedes, which we intend to do in the 4th quarter. That autoclave refurbishment study that Hatch is doing for us on what it's going to cost and how long it's going to take to refurbish our autoclave in that first phase will be published in the 4th quarter of this year. 1st quarter of next year, we'll be publishing feasibility studies on both the Granite Creek underground and the Cove underground mines. So, that's just an example of the catalyst we have coming up in the next year and the news that we'll be putting out.
All right. Well, Ryan, thanks very much for taking the time to sit down with us. I think that you guys are one of the stories that I know we like covering because there's a lot of news and a lot to look at. And hopefully we can sit down with yourself or Richard this time next year, and you guys are going to have a whole bunch of new catalysts to talk about.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.